Hi and welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. This is my first video of 2023 and it is going to be a bit of a bedding review, just my thoughts on the different kinds of bedding that I have tried over the past few years while trying to find the perfect setup for Pedro. I wanted to do this video as I have been looking at various different kinds of bedding for about the past 2 years with Pedro, and now especially with the cost of living crisis, it's just been really important to me to find the right bedding for him and also something that's cost effective. So with this video I wanted to go through everything I've tried so far and let you know the pros and cons that I have found personally with him. Obviously every horse is different, everyone's budget is different, everyone's routine is different. This is just what has worked and hasn't worked for Pedro and I. When I first got Pedro, he was on a straw bed. That was because it was cheap. I had 2 ponies at the time. I had him and I had my first pony, Brandy, and I just felt that with 2 of them it would be cheaper to be on straw. Where I am now, the farmer here, he actually makes his own straw so people can buy straw from him, so it's very easy to get hold of. It's not too expensive and you don't need to worry about storing it. We get it in big round bales, which is more economical than the square bales. The pros for me with straw was that it was cheap, it was easy to get hold of, it made a nice big deep comfortable bed on not very much money, and it would keep the drafts out really well. The cons for me are that it's very smelly to muck out. The ammonia smell just sticks to everything, sticks to your clothes, your hair. I just felt like I was always smelling like pony wee, which not the best when you're mucking out before work. Because of those cons, we moved on to shavings. The shavings I was using were just non-brand from my local tack shop. They come in a big bag, and at the time they were about £7, £6-7 a bag, which was fine. Even with 2 ponies, I was only going through a bag each. Yeah, I was only going through a bag each per pony per week, so it wasn't too bad financially. They fluffed up into a really nice bed, a really nice comfy deep bed. Were fairly easy to muck out. I find shavings easier to muck out than straw, but that's just me personally. They didn't leave as much of an ammonia smell as the straw does. The cons for me with the shavings is the dust. Pedro has dust allergies, so I try and keep everything as dust free as possible. Last year I decided to look into dust free bedding for him. The first one we tried was Easy Bed. I really liked Easy Bed. I found it incredibly easy to muck out, as it suggests. It made a really nice compact bed, which I imagine would be really good if you have a pony who has laminitis. It would compact into their feet and provide a really good firm support. The main thing I didn't like about the Easy Bed was the cost. It was really expensive per bag, and I found it did not last as long as the manufacturer suggested it would. I used it in exactly the way that it said, did the depth that they said, only skipped out, but I still found the wet was coming up really quickly and I was having to add several bags a week. This year the cost of shavings skyrocketed. Every time I was ordering it seemed to be going up, and it's actually ended up that the bales that I was getting are exactly the same price as Bed Max, which is dust extracted, so I decided to give that a try. I went for using Sorbio wood pellets underneath in an attempt to save the shavings so I wasn't going through as much. With this setup I was skipping out during the week and mucking out at the weekends. I only had to add half a bag of Sorbio each time I mucked out and 1 bag of Bed Max a week, compared to I was at the end adding 2 bags of the regular shavings a week. The cons I have found is that it's harder to muck out. I do skip out by hand during the week. It could just be Pedro. He does have a tendency to bury his droppings, so it takes quite a while to do. So even in the mornings, it's not as quick as the Easy Bed was, but the cost of it is much better compared to the Easy Bed. Because it was working so well for us, I decided to give a full bed of Sorbio a try. This didn't quite go to plan. It worked really well initially, was quite quick to muck out. It did get dirty quite quickly, but the bed continued to puff up as it was in use over the week. Then unfortunately we got a really bad spell of weather, really icy, and I couldn't turn him out, so he was stabled for about 4 days in a row, and that just ruined the bed. The bed could not keep up with him being in 24/7. So we have gone back to the bed max with the Sorbio underneath. If money was no option, I would choose Easy Beds. It was the easiest to muck out by far, the quickest, made a beautiful bed, stayed clean, smelled lovely. It was just, yeah, it was really, really good, but the cost of it was just far too much. Even now, the cost of the bed max is still quite a lot. With the Sorbio, it's definitely helping to limit how much bedding I'm using. At the moment, I'm paying £10.30 per bag of bed max and £9 something per bag of Sorbio. So he's round about £20 a week on bedding. So I hope that has been a useful, if not interesting, little vlog for you there. Just some of my thoughts on the different bedding choices that I have tried with Pedro. We will be staying with the Sorbio and bed max for the time being. My next plan, however, is to fill the whole stable and see if that makes a difference, because I do find that the Sorbio gets wet right to the edge of his bed, so by the end of the week it can start kind of sort of to kick up at the edge. So yeah, my next one is to try the full stable, and I will let you know how we get on with that. So until next time, bye bye.